Welcome in, everyone, to a massive Saturday edition of the Neural Right. I'm Josh, your resident logic bully and Harvard Law refugee, coming to you with 1.5x the speed and 10 times the facts of the legacy media.
And I'm Diane, the mama bear patriot, ready to hand out some reality checks to the elites who still haven't figured out that we aren't going anywhere.
This is Ray the Hammer Miller. I've got the documents, I've got the truth, and I've got enough super male vitality bone broth in my system to power a small city. Listen to me.
And I'm Ashley Thorne, the anti-victim. If your feelings are hurt by what we say today, good. That means you're finally paying attention.
Okay, gang, we have a heavy day of news to get through. Yesterday was a whirlwind. We watched Marco Rubio deploy his velvet glove diplomacy at the Vatican. We laughed at Spencer Pratt's polling surge in LA. And we celebrated the birth of Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt's baby girl. But today is about the floor dropping out from under the radical left schemes.
Oh, please. Schemes is putting it nicely, Josh. It was a full-blown heist, and they just got caught by the Supreme Court.
It's the beginning of the end for the machine. They tried to rig the maps, but the Patriots held the line.
Let's dive straight into the big legal win of the week. Folks, the Virginia Supreme Court just dropped a 46-page nuclear bomb on the Democrats' redistricting dreams. I'm talking about McDougal versus Commonwealth. For the sake of argument, let's assume the Democrats thought they were being clever by bypassing the state constitution to gerrymander their way into 4 GOP seats. Well, the court just said null and void.
Give me a break. They tried to run a special election in April to temporarily redraw the lines. Who does that?
People who are desperate, Diane. People who know that under the current 2021 maps, they're going to get absolutely crushed in the midterms.
Precisely. And the logic here, this is what I love, is purely constitutional. Article 12, Section 1 of the Virginia Constitution says you need an intervening election between the two times the legislature passes a constitutional amendment. The Democrats tried to count the 2025 election, but they passed the first part of the amendment after early voting had already started. The court ruled that an election begins when the first ballot is cast. No intervening election, no amendment. Period. Facts don't care about your feelings, and they certainly don't care about your shady voting schedules.
They don't want you to know this. They want to keep the ghost voters and the ghost maps in play. But the Supreme Court of Virginia just slammed the door on the globalist map makers. I've been saying it. They're trying to re-engineer the geography of our republic.
It is a total meltdown, Ray. I'm looking at the headlines from the usual suspects, The Guardian, Democracy Docket. They are absolutely losing it. They're calling it a devastating blow to democracy? Honey, no. It's a devastating blow to cheating.
Let's be real. They're only upset because their multi-million-dollar Flip the Seats project just turned into a pile of expensive scrap paper. They spent all that money on voter education for an election that the court just erased from history.
It's sloppy, Ashley. That's what gets me. My wife, who is a doctor, always says that if you don't follow the procedure, the patient dies on the table. The Democrats tried to skip the surgical steps of the Constitution, and now their redistricting plan is dead on arrival. This is a win for the rule of law. It means the 2026 midterms in Virginia will be fought on the 2021 maps. Stable, known, constitutional.
Which means they actually have to, win on ideas. What a tragedy for them.
Speaking of ideas, or a total lack thereof, we need to talk about what's happening in Cohutta, Georgia. If you want to see what a crazy world looks like at the local level, look no further than Mayor Ron Shinnick.
Oh, this one is just rich. This man literally fired his entire police department, chief, officers, everyone. Why? Because they had the audacity to complain about his wife.
It's a purge, a local fiefdom.
Hypothetically, let's look at the facts. The mayor's wife, Pam Shinnick, was the former town clerk. She was fired previously for creating a hostile work environment, but the officers found out she still had access to classified resident data and sensitive town info. They filed a transparency complaint, and the mayor's response? He fires the whole department and tapes a sign to the door saying they're dissolved.
Excuse me? He fired them over inappropriate comments on Facebook. One officer, Sergeant Jeremy May, said they just took a stand for transparency. This is the victimhood industrial complex in reverse. The mayor feels like a victim because people are picking on his wife, so he nukes public safety for an entire town of nearly 1,000 people.
Imagine being a resident there. You wake up, you need a cop, and there's a Post-it note on the precinct door saying closed for hurt feelings? Are you kidding me? This is the kind of small-town tyranny that makes people lose faith in everything.
They're trying to silence the whistleblowers. Whether it's at the federal level with the globalists or a tiny town in Georgia, the playbook is the same. If you expose the corruption, they take your livelihood. I have the white papers on this kind of municipal breakdown. It starts with the police, then they come for your property.
It's a total breakdown of professional boundaries. You can't use the power of the state or the town to settle domestic grievances. It's the definition of sloppy governance. Now the Whitfield County Sheriff has to pick up the slack because the mayor is throwing a tantrum.
I hope the town council succeeds in forcing his resignation. You want to talk about common sense? Common sense says the guy who fires the police to protect his wife's unauthorized data access shouldn't be holding the keys to the city, or the town, or even a broom. Well, at least someone in government is actually doing their job. Let's look at the adults in the room for a second. Vice President JD Vance and his task force to eliminate fraud are actually finding the money the last administration lost.
$6.3 billion. They identified $6.3 billion in contracts to ghost businesses. I've been telling you, they're funneling your tax dollars into empty warehouses and shell companies to fund the transition to a post-human economy.
Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that these aren't all globalist shell companies, Ray. Even if they're just basic fraud, $6.3 billion is a staggering amount of waste. 895 contracts were awarded to entities that haven't even been verified as legitimate businesses.
And Vance isn't playing. He gave them a 30-day ultimatum. Prove you have a physical address and a real business, or you're getting prosecuted. I love it. This is how you treat the victimhood industrial complex. You stop paying the bill.
And look at what Dr. Oz is doing over at CMS. He's going after the Medicaid fraud. We're talking about $543 billion with a B in improper payments over the last decade. He's calling out Minnesota, California, New York. He specifically mentioned foreign mafias siphoning this money.
Russian, Chinese, Cuban. They're bleeding us dry from the inside. It's an economic parasite. Dr. Oz is finally using the diagnostic tools to find the cancer in the system. I've got some Brain Force Plus that would help those governors focus on their audits. But Oz is already holding their feet to the fire.
It's about social trust, gang. If the average American sees $4.55 gas, which is where we are today, by the way, and then hears that the government handed $6 billion to a ghost, they aren't just going to be mad. They're going to be checked out. Dr. Oz giving governors 10 days to revalidate high-risk providers is the kind of aggressive management we haven't seen in years.
I'm sorry, but can we talk about the states he's targeting? California and New York? It's always the places that preach equity the loudest that are getting fleeced by foreign syndicates. It's almost like inclusive spending is just code for unguarded spending.
Hey, before we move on to the massive diplomatic news in Ukraine, I want to take a second to talk about the backbone of this whole operation. Real independence in media isn't free, folks. This entire network, from the Neural Right to our flagship show, The Neural Daily, exists because one man, Eric Christensen, decided he was done waiting for the legacy media to tell the truth.
He didn't ask for a handout, and he certainly didn't wait for a government grant. He used his own capital and his own technical expertise to build a platform that actually respects your intelligence instead of talking down to you like a child.
He's a builder. We need more builders and fewer bureaucrats. If you want to support the mission of the Hammer and the Logic Bully and the rest of us, you need to back the builder.
Exactly. Don't just settle for the political takes. Get the full strategic picture. Subscribe to the Neural Daily and the rest of the network. Support the architecture of a free press. It's the only way we keep the lights on in the Situation Room.
Support the builder, support the mission. Now, let's talk about a real Victory Day miracle.
The ceasefire! Trump did it! While the globalists were screaming for more billions in artillery, the president brokered a 3-day kinetic ceasefire for Victory Day, May 9th.
It's incredible. A 1,000 for 1,000 prisoner swap, the largest in the history of the conflict. Trump's post on Truth Social was perfect, reminding everyone that both Russia and Ukraine fought to defeat the Nazis in World War II. It's a moment of shared history used to stop the bleeding.
Strategically, it's a masterstroke. According to the State Department, Secretary Rubio and the president have been working the back channels for weeks. This isn't just a love tap like the Iran situation. This is a deliberate pause to allow families to be reunited.
And you see Zelensky's tone? It's pragmatic. He's admitting that the lives of these prisoners are more important than the symbolism of Red Square. That's the red pill moment for the international community. Results over rhetoric.
But don't miss the secondary story. While the guns are silent in Ukraine, the Trump administration is declassifying the UFO documents. They're opening the vault on the interdimensional anomalies. The Guardian is running live updates. They can't hide the truth about the non-human intelligence anymore.
Okay, Ray, let's look at the legal aspect of the declassification. For years, the administrative state has used the national security label to hide basic research and data. The president is essentially saying that the era of trust us, we're the experts is over. Transparency is the new standard, whether it's ghost businesses in the budget or objects in the sky.
I love it. It's like the government is finally cleaning out its attic. Oh, look, here's $6 billion we lost. And oh, here's some extraterrestrial files we forgot to show you. It's a massive momentum shift.
The legacy media is in such a weird spot. They have to report on the ceasefire, which they hate because it makes Trump look like a peacemaker, and they have to report on UFOs, which makes them look like conspiracy theorists. It's a win-win for us.
Speaking of things being hidden, let's talk about Mother's Day. Gavin Newsom in California is trying to save motherhood by giving out 400 free diapers to every newborn. He says this is what affordability looks like. It's not a slogan, it's a box of diapers.
Give me a break. Affordability is when the government doesn't drive gas to $6.16 a gallon in your state, Gavin. It's not a 1-month supply of Pampers. This is the nanny state taking its job title literally.
Let's look at the numbers. Diaper prices are up 48%. Why? Energy costs, transportation costs, and supply chain disruptions caused by the very policies Newsom supports. So he causes the inflation, then tries to buy your gratitude with a Golden State Start diaper program? It's circular logic. It's sloppy.
It devalues the whole point of Mother's Day. Motherhood isn't a financial crisis that needs a government subsidy. It's a joy. It's a spiritual responsibility. The left wants to frame parenting as this crushing burden that only Uncle Gavin can help you carry.
They want to be the parent. They want to replace the father and the mother with the bureaucrat. I've seen this in the white papers. If they provide the diapers, they own the data on the child. It's a track and trace system disguised as charity.
Let's be real. If you can't afford diapers, you shouldn't be looking to the state of California for help. You should be looking to leave California. Life is hard. Get a helmet, and maybe get out of a state where the gas costs more than the groceries.
My wife, the doctor, would tell you that prenatal care and a stable home are way more important than a PR stunt with a box of diapers. It's pampered politics, pure and simple.
We only have a few minutes left, but we have to touch on the economic reality hitting the grid. Josh, you saw the NERC alert?
Level 3 Essential Action Alert, the highest level of urgency. Our national power grid is literally vibrating under the load of AI data centers.
Oh, wonderful! So we're shutting down coal plants and forcing everyone into electric cars? And now the grid is failing because ChatGPT needs to write more poems about equity?
That's the reality, Ashley. We have these massive computational loads creating unpredictable surges. Grid operators have seconds to respond. And meanwhile, the average American is paying $4.55 a gallon at the pump, 44% more than last year.
It's the energy squeeze. They're throttling the supply while the AI vampires suck the grid dry. It's a recipe for a total blackout. And the elite don't care because they have their own backup generators in their bunkers.
It's just another example of the ingrates at the top, ignoring the real Americans at the bottom. We're told to go green while the grid goes dark. It's a joke.
All right, folks, let's wrap this up. Today's theme is the reckoning. Whether it's the Virginia Supreme Court reinstating the rule of law over partisan gerrymandering, or JD Vance identifying $6 billion in fraud, the adults are finally back in the room. You can't run a country on sloppy logic and victimhood narratives forever. Eventually, reality hits. And right now, reality is hitting hard.
And thank God for that. The mama bear in me is happy to see some accountability. Go hug your moms this weekend and remind them that we're fighting for their future. God bless America.
Life is hard. The world is crazy. But the facts are on our side. Get a helmet, people. See you next week.
Keep your eyes on the skies and your hands on your wallet. The globalists are retreating, but they aren't gone yet. Support the builder. I'm Ray the Hammer Miller. It's over for the lies.
My wife, the doctor, says the best cure for a crazy world is a double dose of common sense. We just delivered it. I'm Josh Cohen. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Facts don't care about your